Let's get to know New Orleans wedding photographer Anthony LaMothe of Capture Studio. In this series, we interview professional wedding photographers and ask them questions about their work and their personal lives. This is the perfect resource to help you find a photographer that matches your style and your personality. Anthony, welcome to our YouTube channel. Thank you so much for taking the time to chat. In your bio, I read that you grew up around photography. Can you tell us more about what sparked your interest in this field?
I grew up playing with my dad's Polaroid and film cameras, and I think that kind of sparked the love of photography early on, being able just to see those moments of people or different objects, especially with the Polaroid, being able to print it out so quickly. And then I think as it grew on, it became more of a hobby that I learned was very expensive, so that became into a love, which turned into a business.
What's your favorite part of being an entrepreneur?
My favorite part about being an entrepreneur is probably the fact that I can make my own schedule, along with also having complete creative control of different projects, whether it's a wedding, lifestyle session, studio session. And just being an entrepreneur has taught me how to operate a business, the ins and outs, all the intricate little small pieces that come together and make it work.
What influences your style of photography?
My style of photography is influenced mainly by the genuine human connection and capturing those moments. I love letting couples interact and just be themselves. Prior to that, I was a designer and a project manager of an architecture firm. So I think history and architecture play a big part in my style and my backdrop. So that's one reason why, if you notice in my photos, all my lines have to be straight.
How have you and your family been spending the extra downtime with the pandemic?
Well, honestly, there hasn't been much downtime for us. My wife and I both work from home, and we have two daughters that we've been virtually homeschooling, which is a task in itself. So I want to send a big shout out to all the teachers and educators out there, because it's tough. It's very tough. And the funny part about it is I thought my honey-do list would get shorter, but it's actually gotten longer and longer. But we enjoy each other's company, spending family time. I have had a chance to restructure and organize my photography business, as well as rebrand a graphic design company that I have as well.
What are 3 words that describe your photography?
I would say the 3 words that best describe my photography would be authentic, bold, and detailed. I'm real big on details. There are several more words I can think of, but since 3 is the limit, I'll just run with authentic, bold, and detailed.
You and your wife work as a team. What's it like working alongside each other?
I love working with my wife. We work closely together, mainly when large weddings were a thing, but since the pandemic, things have kind of become more elopements and micro weddings, so those I do document by myself. But she's a great asset to have. She's there to assist me throughout the day, especially with the timeline, a second set of hands and eyes, grabbing some shots in areas where I can't necessarily be in 2 places at once. And it's also given her some time too, now that we're not doing so many large weddings, to concentrate on her business, because she just finished successfully defending her dissertation. So a big round of applause for her.
I love that you describe your work as storytelling. Can you help us understand what that really means when it comes to photography?
Yes, I feel photographic storytelling is a genuine way of authentically reliving a moment through still imagery. I guess that's the best way I can describe it. I love that our couples can go back and relive their entire wedding day by taking a walk through their gallery, their albums, their prints, which printing is very, very important. And they get that feeling of reliving and being in that moment all over again. So they're seeing moments they never knew happened, emotions from guests, all the details, all that together kind of comes and tells their story.
What's your routine after finishing a wedding and sort of winding down?
After I finish shooting a wedding, my first priority is to back up the photos. So I'm real big on redundancy. I usually make 4 copies of all of the photos. And after that's done, hot shower, a glass of Crown Royal or 2, sometimes 3, kind of helps me unwind. Then I might, if it's not too late, I might skim through the photos and start selecting photos for the sneak peek. And of course, Tylenol Advil works great, along with plenty of water or rest, because wedding days are a workout.
What are some of the shots that you get on wedding day that couples don't know to ask you for?
So typically on wedding day, I take a ton of details, including, decor, reception shots, all the tiniest of things that the couples plan so hard for. So I figured if those little tiny details made it to the wedding, that they deserve a little short photo op as well. And I love taking ring shots with my macro lens, probably my least used lens, but it gives you those nice, crisp, tight details for that wow factor. I'm also real big on shooting double exposures, which my clients love.
What's your favorite place to go on a dinner date?
Well, I'm a big foodie, and my wife and I, we love a lot of different types of foods. Pre-pandemic, we went to a lot of places, Hacienda on the West Bank, Zia's, Drago's, Houston's. But since the pandemic, we've been cooking a lot, and occasionally we'll get takeout. But since we have our girls all the time now, since they're homeschooled, dinner dates are kind of far and few in between at the moment.
Finish this sentence. My best clients always ask.
I think my best clients always ask me, when will we get to see our photos? And I understand the anticipation, but being a photographer and a creative artist, we need time to edit and make their photos amazing. I do, however, give our clients a little sneak peek within a few days, just as a little teaser to hold them over until the final full reveal.
Tell us a duty you have on wedding day that most people don't know about.
I have more of a hands-on approach on wedding days, mainly during prep. I want to make sure it runs smoothly, so I provide a timeline so that everyone in the bridal party and anyone that's going to be involved knows where they need to be, photo ops, call times, and it just makes everything run a lot smoother so we can get on to the ceremony. Also, another important thing, I always keep a multi-tool either on me or in my camera bag because it's come in handy a lot for all those unexpected needs.
Tell us about how you process your photos after the wedding, like your editing process.
The editing process begins with culling through and selecting some of the best moments that tell the couple's wedding story. Then I usually go through and edit each photo individually, kind of giving it that warm, sharp, detailed look and style that we edit in. I'll do some slight retouching, but I like the photos to look natural and let our clients be the main focus. After that's complete, we send them to gallery, and I know it sounds like a quick process, but the creative editing takes time to make the magic.
What's your favorite organizational tool?
My favorite organizational tool would happen to be my trusty notebook. I take a ton of detailed photos, whether it's for a wedding, lifestyle session, or an event. I think notes are important. I also use my phone's calendar and task list synced across multiple devices, so I always know what's coming up and where I need to be.
What is your favorite New Orleans photography spot?
I'd have to say my favorite spot in New Orleans would probably be the French Quarter. Not the typical tourist spots, but more of the little nooks and crannies, doorways, gates, any of those great backdrops. You gotta love the architecture and the vibrant colors, and I think that plays a big part of New Orleans.
Teach us something that you wish people understood about photography in a minute or less.
So photography is an artistic trade, and we're all artists. A camera is just a tool that we use to express our artistry. It doesn't make the photographer. Kind of like a painter, the canvas and the paintbrush don't make the painter. So with that said, photography is not just about taking pictures. It's about composition, a keen eye to detail, constant education, which is very, very important, and the ability to tell a story through photos. So it's important to understand that it is an art, and there's so much more that goes into photography than just taking pictures.
What's your favorite business podcast or book?
I would say books I enjoyed are Profit First, Richest Man in Babylon, and The Power of Habit. Those are some great books. I also like educational podcasts that are uplifting, especially for business and personal benefits.
Are there any pictures that must be choreographed on wedding day?
So on wedding days, I like letting the moments unfold naturally. However, there are some of the more traditional posed choreographed photos like the couple's formals, the bridal party formals, but I like to get creative and have fun with those. I don't like them being so rigid. And as I mentioned before, I have a more hands-on approach, so we always fix the jackets, the dresses, etc., make sure all the details look great, and we make any suggestions as needed. But other than occasional moments when I might get pulled to the side by Aunt Mary who wants a photo with the bride, I just like the day to run its course naturally.
I've seen your beautiful family on Instagram. Do they have an interest in photography yet? And are you letting them play with your cameras or any of your equipment?
Oh, thank you so much. Yes, our beautiful daughters, Jolie and Bailey, are 6 and 5, going on 16 and 15. And they do have kid-friendly cameras, which they play with a lot. They seem to fill up the memory cards fast of photos that are nonsense or blurred out, but they do get some good shots every once in a while. And I have let them play with my camera, but I think at this age it's a little overwhelming for them. I think they kind of prefer to play dress up and let daddy take photos of them in the studio.
Is there a part of your photography business that you'd like to expand or grow?
Yes. Prior to the pandemic, I wanted to shoot a lot more destination weddings, which I'm still open to do, safely of course, but I would love to expand our studio and offer more creative and artistic style studio sessions.
What is your Enneagram type?
Great question. My Enneagram type is type 2, the caregiver. And my wife also has a background in psychology, so she's given me the Myers-Briggs test. And I am an ENFJ, which stands for extroversion, intuition, feeling, and judgment. So if you haven't taken either of these personality tests, I definitely recommend it.
And finally, where can we find you on social media?
Yes, we can be found on Instagram and Twitter at Capture Studio, and on Facebook at Capture Studio NOLA. And our website is capturestudionola.com. So please connect with us.
Anthony, thanks so much for being part of this show. It's so great getting to know you a little bit better. To our viewers, thank you so much for watching. Make sure you check out our series on other New Orleans wedding photographers. Happy wedding planning!